She boarded quietly. No jewelry, no noise, just a leather bag and a steady walk down the aisle of Flight 228. People noticed her, but only in passing the way you notice a reflection in glass before it disappears. Seat 18C. A window seat on the right side. The flight was headed from Atlanta to Los Angeles. 5 hours of air, clouds, and strangers. The plane smelled of coffee and cold air conditioning. A flight attendant greeted each passenger with that professional half-smile that said, "Welcome." But hurry up. When she reached 18C, she exhaled slowly, placed her bag under the seat, and shut her eyes. The intercom crackled. Seatbelts, tray tables, safety procedures, the usual rhythm of takeoff. But for her, this was more than another flight. It was an operation, the kind that never makes the news. 2 days earlier, an encrypted message had arrived on her phone. No sender name, no signature. Just coordinates and 2 words. Confirm delivery. It was the language of her world quiet orders spoken between those who worked in the shadows of corporate corruption. She wasn't a spy. Not exactly. She was an internal investigator for a global airline conglomerate, the same airline she was now flying with, and she was here to verify a rumor. A black market cargo operation using company planes to move contraband across states under official manifests. Billions in play. Careers at stake, and someone high up wanted her silenced. The engines roared, the city shrank beneath them, and clouds swallowed the view. She opened her tablet, pretending to read, but her mind was tracking patterns, crew assignments, passenger lists, cargo logs. Seat 14A drew her attention. A man in a navy suit, traveling alone, briefcase never leaving his lap. He'd been on 3 similar flights that week, all under different aliases. She closed her eyes again, remembering the warning from her handler. If anything goes wrong, stay calm. Don't reveal who you are. The truth will find its way out. It was the calm before the turbulence, not of air, but of people. Halfway through the flight, coffee carts rolled down the aisles. The attendant, tall, sharp, practiced, stopped at 18C. Coffee, tea, or water? Water, please. Nice bag, the attendant said. Thank you. Her tone was polite, neutral. But the attendant lingered too long, eyes flicking between her and the identical bag resting a few seats ahead, belonging to a frequent flyer in row 16. It was a designer handbag, same model, same color. The attendant's eyes narrowed. Then the call came from 16A. My bag's missing. The attendant turned immediately. Missing? Yes. I put it in the overhead compartment. It's gone. The attendant looked down the aisle. Her gaze stopped at seat 18C. The air changed, a simple misunderstanding, yet it already felt like accusation. Ma'am, the attendant said sharply, I'll need to check your belongings. The woman looked up slowly. Is there a reason? A passenger reported a stolen bag. Yours looks identical. She smiled faintly. That's because it's the same brand. But mine hasn't left my sight. Passengers turned their heads. Phones lifted discreetly. Whispers began to hum like static. Please cooperate, the attendant insisted. I will, but no one touches my bag without cause. Her calmness only fueled suspicion. The attendant's radio crackled. She called for the head purser. Within minutes, 2 more crew members surrounded seat 18C. The woman sighed, set her tablet aside. She'd faced worse before, but never in public. Never on a mission. Every eye in that cabin was now a judge. One whispered, I knew it. Another muttered, people think they can get away with anything these days. She said nothing. She simply waited. When the plane landed, uniformed officers boarded immediately. The attendant pointed. That's her. Seat 18C. The officers approached. Ma'am, we've been asked to verify ownership of this handbag. Of course, she said, voice calm as glass. You'll find a micro tag under the lining. Scan it. They did. The scanner beeped. Her name appeared on the screen. But before the truth could settle, another discovery changed everything. Inside the bag was a second phone, not hers. An unregistered satellite phone. The officer raised it. This yours too? She frowned. No. The attendant crossed her arms. Then how did it get there? Her heart slowed. Someone had planted it. The operation was compromised. They escorted her off the plane. Cameras flashed. In an airport hallway filled with echoes and judgment, She walked without resistance, silent, calculating, waiting. They put her in a small interrogation room. Walls too white, air too cold. An investigator entered, not police but corporate. Logo on his badge, the same airline she worked for. He smiled. Rough day? She didn't answer. You've been looking into company cargo movements, he said casually. That's bold. Her eyes lifted. So you know who I am? Oh, we do, he said. That's why we're having this conversation privately. He set the satellite phone on the table. Tell me, what did you expect to find on this flight? She stayed silent. He leaned closer. You think you're the first? People before you tried. They disappeared quietly. You, however, you just made it public. He smiled again, small and cruel. You're done. She smiled back, smaller, colder. You think so? He stood, collecting his folder. Enjoy your suspension. The door closed. The lights dimmed. But her mind didn't stop. The planted phone. The duplicate bag. The timing perfect. Someone high up was orchestrating this, and now she was the scapegoat. She waited 5 minutes after he left, then pressed a code into her watch, a silent transmission, a backup signal to her partner, miles away, waiting for proof. Within hours, her entire file, every investigation, every internal report uploaded automatically to a secure server outside corporate control, and with it, evidence that would soon shake an empire. Morning, the story hit the news. Airline executive detained for theft and security breach. Her face blurred, name withheld, but inside the industry, everyone knew. The company spun a statement. We are cooperating with authorities. Meanwhile, those authorities were receiving anonymous data leaks, cargo manifests, falsified customs documents, offshore payments, her work, her insurance. The man who'd interrogated her was called in by federal agents 2 days later. They wanted answers about 10 unaccounted cargo shipments. His voice shook when he denied knowledge, because the files proved otherwise, and behind every leak was one quiet signature. M. Weeks passed. The woman in seat 18C vanished from the public eye. Some said she fled, others said she was fired, but she was exactly where she planned to be, a small town outside Denver, a safe house. From there, she watched the investigation unfold like dominoes. The CEO resigned. The board dissolved. 4 senior executives arrested for smuggling and tax evasion. And the flight attendant, the one who called security? She was found to have received unexplained payments from the same executives under performance bonuses. They'd used her too. Everyone was part of someone else's game. Months later, an independent journalist received an anonymous tip, a flash drive. Inside, flight recordings, security footage, and one statement, voice distorted, tone calm. I was accused of theft, but what I carried was truth. The video spread quietly online. Millions watched. The airline's reputation collapsed. The truth was undeniable. Investigators traced the data trail but couldn't find the source. The only clue was a timestamp, the exact moment she'd pressed the code on her watch. 6 months after the scandal, in a small cafe near Washington, D.C., a man sat reading the paper. Across from him, a woman placed a cup of coffee on his table. He looked up. Recognition flickered brief, then gone. She smiled faintly. He whispered, "You're supposed to be gone." "I am," she said. "Officially. Why risk coming back?" "Because truth unfinished is truth wasted." She handed him an envelope sealed, unmarked. Inside is what they didn't find, the names that didn't make the headlines. He frowned. "And what do you want me to do with it?" "Do what you do best," she said. "Tell it." Then she stood, left a 20 on the table, and walked into the morning. The paper headline glared. Airline corruption probe expands to government contracts. He opened the envelope. Inside photos, ledgers, voices, and one note, handwritten. Every story hides a truth. This one's still flying. Her trail disappeared again. No records, no trace, only fragments. A security feed in another airport showing a familiar silhouette boarding a plane to nowhere. A woman in a charcoal blazer. A leather bag. seat 18C. The attendant on that flight was new, cheerful, unaware of the storm that name carried. As the engines started, the woman closed her eyes, calm once more. Somewhere deep inside, beneath the noise of takeoff, she whispered a prayer. Let them keep watching. I'll keep telling the truth. And then she smiled because she knew. The higher they fly, the harder the fall. And this time, she wasn't coming down alone. Every story hides a truth. Mr. Misa Stories.